Okay, I want to say one other thing about corresponding angles. Um, as far as I know, at least most of the time, you will see corresponding angles where they ask you questions about them to give the measurement. They will be found where you have a line intersecting parallel lines. Here are those little arrows I was telling you about, okay? So when I was reading to you from page 517, it says angles that occupy corresponding positions when a line intersects two other lines are called corresponding. That's true, but here's the information that you're going to need to know. When a line intersects two parallel lines, corresponding angles are congruent, okay? And so I told you I would tell you the definition from the quiz that you're going to take Thursday or Friday, and I left a word off in the previous video, and so it made me start wondering what was going on. But it actually says, for corresponding angles, angles that occupy corresponding positions when a line intersects two parallel lines, okay? You might notice on page 517 that the drawing on the left at the bottom with angles 1 and 2, those lines C and D are not parallel. So 1 and 2 cannot have the same measure. But they will be congruent when the lines like in E and F, the one to the right, when those lines are parallel, like in my drawing on the board. Okay, so clearing that up. Doesn't really change anything. It just makes it more specific, I would say. So let's try to work on some of this. Turn your page to 518, and let's look at roads, intersecting roads. Okay, so I'm going to draw this map on my board, and I'm going to talk about it as I do it. So you have 34th Street up here, and you will see that it has the one little arrow saying that it is parallel to 23rd Street, which also has the one little arrow. Okay, I never can draw these correctly, but anyway. Okay, then you also have vertical north-south roads, which I am not drawing straight by any stretch of the means, but 7th and Park Avenue are also parallel. You'll just have to take my word for it. And these signs say, no matter how horribly the teacher drew the line, they are parallel. Okay. Then you have this intersecting road coming through parallel lines. Okay. And it's Broadway. So let me number all these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Mine's a little bit different, but again, just go with the facts. Okay. It says that this map shows a section of New York City. Streets shown on maps often appear to form parallel or intersecting lines. Name 2 streets that are parallel and 2 streets that intersect. Okay, we talked about parallel already, but for intersecting, you could say Broadway intersects 23rd. You could say 7th intersects 34th, or Park intersects 34th. It doesn't matter. There's a lot of different choices there. And you'll see that in the solution it says several answers are possible. Okay, what I want to spend time on is letter B. Given that the measure, again, this is how that looks, the measure of angle 7 equals 68 degrees. So I'm going to erase my 7 right now and put a 68 in there. Okay. So knowing that angle 7 is 68 degrees, find the measure of angle 1. Okay. My guess is that you're freaking out because 1 and 68 are not congruent. They're not congruent because they're not corresponding, right? On the previous video, we talked about that corresponding angles are the ones that are in the same position in the intersection, okay? So in this intersection, angle 7, that's 68 degrees, is bottom right. That means that angle 3 is its corresponding angle. Okay? Now, you should know the measure of angle 3 because it does correspond to angle 7. What is the measure of angle 3? It is 68 degrees because it's in an intersection formed by a line that is intersecting parallel lines. Okay? So 3 and 7 are corresponding, 2 and 6 are corresponding, 1 and 5, 4 and 8. Okay? Now, you know, based off of something that we covered earlier in 10.2, how to find the measure of angle 1 now. So I'm going to take a little pause and you figure out how you can know what the measure of angle 1 is. It is a vertical angle with angle 3, okay? And vertical angles are congruent. So 1 is 68 degrees. A roundabout way that you could also have done it is that 5 is a vertical angle to 7, and so angle 5 is 68 degrees. And then 5 and 1 are corresponding because they are both in the top left corner of their intersection, okay? Now, while I'm on here, and this is already so messy, I'm just going to make it messier. I do want to review. You have enough information by just the text giving you the measure of angle 7, you can solve all of them, okay? You should know the measure of angle 8 because angles 7 and 8 form, they are supplementary angles because they form this straight angle, okay? So you could do 180 minus 68 and find out the measure of angle 8, okay? It is not coming to me quickly today. So 112, all right? So the measure of angle 8 is 112. Therefore, you should know the measure of angle 6, right? Because they are vertical angles. So 6 is 112. What is the corresponding angle in the top intersection to angle 6? Angle 6 and top right, angle 2 are corresponding. Therefore, they are congruent. If angle 6 is 112, angle 2 is 112. Angle 2 and angle 4 are what type of angles? Vertical. They're also congruent, and therefore they are 112. Okay? A little bit of extra, but you will have to solve like that. So I wanted to show you. If you're given one angle measure and you know your rules, all those definitions we talked about, vertical, etc., you should be able to do all of the angle measures. Okay. That would help you with guided practice 4. I've already gone over all of that, so we're going to go on. I would like to spend the remainder of the time doing something very similar that is found at the bottom of 519. You are assigned the odds for homework, so I'm going to help you solve the even numbers. But as I just showed you with example 3, once I give you the evens, you should be able to find the odd angles, which you have to find 1, 3, and 5. Once I give you 2, 4, and 6, it should take you 30 seconds to do 1, 3, and angles 1, 3, and 5. Okay? Okay. This is the drawing for the map at the bottom of 519. And we're going to find the measure of angle 2, angle 4, and angle 6. Okay? And it looks overwhelming, even to me. I know how to do it, but when you just see this and you feel like it's not enough information, so I'm going to help you work through this. Okay. I think the easiest place to start would be with knowing what we already know. Okay. I'm not going to tell you because it's part of your homework. You should already know the measure of angle 1. Okay. But I think 2 is going to be the easiest one to solve before we go on to 4 or 6. Okay, 2, 5, and 6 all have corresponding angles because they're on this intersecting line that goes through two parallel lines, okay? Actually, let me bump over here. 1 and 4 are also corresponding because this is an intersecting line to two parallel lines, okay? And you can see that arrow there, okay? So 1 is bottom right and 4 is bottom right in its intersection. Well, I just told you that you should know what measure of angle 1 is, okay? So I'm going to have to tell you because I told you I was going to do the evens with you, all right? So the measure of angle 4 is 123 degrees, all right? And then you should also know the measure of angle 3 at this point, and there's two separate ways you can get to that, okay? So there's that side. Now, this is, all right, now I am going to change colors. This is where it gets confusing. I don't know how else to do this, so I'm going to use a different color to try to show you this. This line right here is intersecting two parallel lines, okay? This one and this one. And that means that this intersection, these four angles, have corresponding angles in this intersection, okay? So we can say that if this angle in the top right is 99 degrees, then this angle in the top right of the intersection also has to be 99 degrees. So the measure of angle 2 is 99. The measure of angle 4 we already solved, that's 123. Now, changing colors again. This line intersects two parallel lines here, which I think is called Elm Street and Main Street, okay? So this intersection, these four angles, and these four angles are corresponding, okay? So if the top right angle in the top intersection is 99 degrees, then the top right angle in the bottom intersection is going to be congruent. I'm not going to tell you the answer because that's an odd number. However, this angle 6 is vertical to angle 5, okay? And I could have done it this way as well. What the vertical angle, which wasn't labeled in your book, to angle 2 is the bottom left, and it's 99 degrees, okay? This angle right here corresponds, because it's bottom left, to this angle down here, angle 6, okay? It's bottom left. So these two corresponding angles, bottom left, have to be congruent. And so the measure of angle 6 is 99 degrees as well, okay? Now, just looking at that terrifies me only because I know this is hard, okay? I am more than willing and happy to FaceTime with you. So if you're just totally overwhelmed, if your mom is sitting next to you crying because it's so confusing, I get it, okay? I've had to pause the video several times just to think through how to teach this to you. It's so hard when we're not together. So please, let me know if it's just not clicking, and I'll try to do some more examples with you one-on-one. I'd love to see you and FaceTime with you, so just let me know, all right? I am going to stop. There's not going to be a part 3 to this.